Welcome to my summer 2021 Math 417 class. I want to give you a brief tour of the Blackboard page for the course so that you have an idea of how things are actually organized. When you first log into Blackboard, you'll see this home page, and it's important to realize that this particular to-do thing will give you a list of everything that is due on the selected date. You can change the selected date by using the calendar here, and it's actually quite easy to do. We don't have any kind of things that are showing up right now because I'm recording this on May 25th, which is before the semester starts. But if I go to say, June 3rd, and I ask it for what's due on June 3rd, we see that these three problems are due on June 3rd, and I can also get information that's a little bit further in the future. So that may be a useful device if you're trying to figure out what is due in the near future. The other thing that I want to point out is that this over here is called the main course menu. And it's broken into several sections that are separated by what are called subheaders. And the general information one covers all of the basic stuff that you need to know for how the course is actually going to be run. It's got the links for this beginning video and the getting started thing. I will delete those after you've done those particular activities, but there's also information about who I am, the announcements, my on-hour office, and so on. And if we look at these particular links, if you click on the My Instructor link, you'll get my lovely mug over there, and you'll also see that you can get at my home number and my office number and when my office hours are. If we click on the online office hour link over here, that will actually take you directly to a Blackboard setting that will take you into the appropriate Blackboard session if it has started. But since it hasn't, we have to go back. The syllabus is posted. You should click it and read it in some detail. It's got all kinds of important information about how the course is actually going to run. If we go back again, the next thing that I want to do is I want to look at other pieces of this course menu. The Content and Assignments subsection has two important links: the weekly content and assignment folders and the drop boxes for the homework problems. And let's look at each one of those. If we click on the weekly content and assignment folders, we get a list of weeks, and each week will have one folder for each day of the week. And if I click on one of these, what you'll notice is that you typically get, on Wednesdays, you'll get a link for the synchronous class meeting, and you'll always have a folder for the homework that is due that day, plus a folder that is for new content. This is how most of the content will be delivered this summer. The homework folder is just a collection of drop boxes, one for each of the problems that is due. This is because I'm going to allow you to do a revision, and it helps me if the problem is turned in individually. So there's information about that on some of the stuff that I'm asking you to read. If we go back and click on the new content, what you'll get is a list of activities. It starts off with the learning objectives for the day, and then it's a mixture of reading activities, some videos, more reading, more videos here, and somewhere there will always be at least one or more folders that will have drop boxes for problems that are due, that are being assigned that day. So when you're ready to turn in a problem, if you are actually working on the date that you're doing it, you can just turn it in on the drop box that's here. But if you're looking at the date and you're wondering what's due, you can always go back and click here. But finally, you can also click on the drop boxes for the homework problems themselves. They're organized by chapter, and if I look at chapter 2, I can see that problem 19 is going to be due on Thursday, June the 3rd. Problem 21 is going to be due on Thursday, June the 23rd. But problem 23 will be due on June the 4th. And I said that wrong. These are June the 3rd. I think I said 23rd. So I'm not going to worry about trying to correct that. You can read correctly. So there are several different ways of finding the drop boxes for the written homework. Continuing our brief tour, the next subdivision is the textbook and grading policies. And if we look at these, what I want to notice is that you've got a link for the textbook. And if you click on that, you'll get the whole textbook. And it's worth probably doing a download and selecting where you're going to save it so that you don't always have to look at it online. The textbook you're going to want to have available anytime you're trying to do your homework, and it may be easier to have it on your computer rather than always going through the web. So that's where the textbook is. If I look at the 0-star policy is talked about in the syllabus, and you need to read this. Basically, the 0-star policy is what I do if I think somebody might be cheating. You are not allowed to use anything except stuff that has been posted to Blackboard by me when you're doing your homework problems. And if I think that you actually have gone out and Googled a solution, you're going to earn a 0-star on the problem. And this talks about what you can do if you think the 0-star has been imposed unfairly. And if we go back, I want to also look at the grading rubric for just a minute. The grading rubric, essentially I have one rubric for grading 12-point problems, and then the examples are worth 6 points, so they're just divided in half. But if you look at the rubric, you can look at this in more detail, but you'll see that basically I'm thinking about 11 and 12 points as being A quality writing on the problem, 9 or 10 points as B quality writing, 8 points as C quality writing, 6 or 7 is D, and anything below 6 is essentially an E, and you should read that very carefully. Again, if we go back to the main course window and we come back over to the main course menu, you'll notice that then there is a section on communication. And the interesting thing here is that the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra link has links to the office hours and the class meetings, as well as an always available course room. Now, I'm not going to be in there all of the time, but if you and a partner want to get together and you don't have another way of doing it virtually, you can always agree to go into the same course room, and then you have basically your own private Zoom session. My messages and my grades are self-explanatory. If we just click on my grades, you'll notice that it is a list of individual problems. The total is going to give you your running grade for the semester, which will always be reported as a fraction, the number of points you've earned over the total number of points that has been graded at that particular point in time. If you have questions about the organization of this webpage, you should ask me on our first Collaborate session on Wednesday, June the 2nd.